Hi, Marilyn O'Malley here of MarilynO'Malley.com, and today I want to talk to you about what does it mean to be a highly sensitive. And what I what I'm looking to really get across is that you, as a highly sensitive, are a gift. Your abilities as a highly sensitive serve humanity and the planet in whatever direction you're here to express yourself and live out your purpose. So I want to have a total paradigm shift about how highly sensitives are perceiving themselves. Some of you already get this, and I'm speaking to those of you who are struggling with it like I did, growing up with it, thinking I was weak because I wasn't as strong as what I thought everybody else was in order to not be affected by the things around me. I felt I was inferior because I wasn't that strong, and because the reactions from others about how I showed up in life as a highly sensitive was looked down upon. So I lost a lot of self-esteem and confidence about who I authentically am. And so and I think a lot of highly sensitives today, particularly the millennials, you have an inner knowing about who you are, and that you're here for a reason, and you're here for a powerful reason, and it's not going along with the old ways. So really we want to get rid of the old and come in with the new. And I feel that I'm here to help guide highly sensitives who are stuck in the old paradigm about being disempowered and weak and shy and alone, that you're not. So let's get started, because you are a gift. And so I want to share with you what it means to be a highly sensitive, and and your gifts. And I actually would invite you to start thinking of yourself as a superpower, a superhero with superpowers. And I'm going to go through and explain what the superpowers are, and these are innate traits that highly sensitives have. You might not have all of these, but I'm gonna go over the 5 which I feel are superpowers, or actually 6, because I'm adding one that's not necessarily just a highly sensitive trait. But there's 6 things that are traits of highly sensitives that allow you to do things that those who are not highly sensitive can't do. And that's why I call them superpowers. So first I want you to know that you're not alone. At least 1.4 billion people on the planet are highly sensitives, 20% of the population. I actually think that's grown because of, I believe a lot of the millennials who have been born are highly sensitives. And one of the reasons too that I believe this is that I believe, and I'm not the only one to believe this, that the highly sensitive changes that happened in our brain, the changes that happened in our brain that make us highly sensitive, I believe are an evolution of humanity, and that this evolution came along and started so that we can use our talents, our strengths, our gifts that come as a highly sensitive to help the non-sensitives find solutions, be innovative. We're pioneers. We're the creatives. We're the problem solvers. We're the healers. We can see, so this is the first thing, is that we can see subtleties in our environments that other people can't. So we can see how relationships are playing off of each other. We can see how we can look at a big picture and see what's missing. We can walk into a room and know that that person is not feeling good, that these two people are arguing, that person is very happy. We walk into a room. Let's say we walk into a restaurant. We notice, like I said, kind of the feelings of the room. This is what I'll do. I'll walk in, I'll kind of feel out the room. I hear the sounds, I smell the smells, I am observing energetically, where is there more energy, like people traveling back and forth and action happening versus where the calm area is. Where does it feel good? Where does it not feel good? Colors, I might notice colors. Again, so I'm using all my senses, and some of them, and using my senses of energy of things you can't see. And that helps me determine where I want to sit. So the same thing can happen if you're working in an office. Seeing, walking to the office, and if you're a manager, you can sense who's satisfied, who's not, who's excited, who's struggling. You can just see things using all your senses. You hear what's going on, what people are talking about. You're paying attention. You listen. You are also seeing visually what interactions are happening. What you notice subtleties in facial expressions or in body language. You notice, again, tension or lack of tension. You can kind of see, your intuition through this is very, here's the flow. You kind of know if we go here, there's a flow here. This is what's happening, versus we're going to be struggling the whole time. We're going to be pushing, because you can feel different things. So again, using all of your senses, and then you have an ability to relate to people, to feel people's energy. So our ability to feel the subtleties that are all around us is a gift. And that ability leads us to be able to really lead well. It allows us to have knowings that other people aren't aware of, that we can share, insights. And what happens when we are seeing all of this, right? All of this, the subtleties in our environment, in our home, in the world, in humanity, it's not just the little things about exactly where we are. We can see bigger pictures about what's happening in our communities, in our schools, in politics, in the world, etc. And so those are all gifts to other people that can't get that. And after I'm done, I'll explain where they become curses, or what and why. But I'll do that a little bit later. So I'm trying to keep myself on track of the gifts, right? So the next gift is we process things very deeply. So as little kids growing up, we're observing. We're paying attention. We're taking all this information, and then we internalize it. This is why watching the news can be hard for us, or hearing terrible stories, is because we almost take it on like it's real to us, even though it's knowledge. So we're experiencing, what would that be like? What would that feel like? We're having empathy, and we're analyzing and looking at it from all different directions. What's it look like up close? What's it look like far away? How does that impact me? How does that impact my family? How does that impact people, my community, my tribe? How does it impact the world? So all of us, not each of us is looking at all those things, but we each have our own way of, and our own path of the things that we're interested, the things that inspire us as a highly sensitive. So some people are more bigger picture, and other people are smaller community or office or family. Again, varied, because we're individuals, right? Different interests. We're not all alike. So our gift, again, is we notice subtleties, and then we process them. And in those processes of growing up as a child, we're kind of like storing things away. Oh, this, that. We're looking, we're remembering, we're seeing. Even as a child, we're going, how can we could make that better? We know how to do this. It's like Steve Jobs is a highly sensitive. He knew, I can take this to a different place. This is what's missing. People just don't want this. They want something that's beautiful and that they can work on, that they're proud of. They want the creative aspect of it. They can see where the things are missing and how to be innovative and bring in the new artificial intelligence to bring better transportation, better communication. So you're internalizing that, and you keep all of that. So when things come up, when you see, oh, here's a challenge, or there's something broken here, how can we create it better? You kind of you go back in, and you're pulling out all of these things very quickly from the past, from your other experiences, and you're putting them together, and you're making a new creation. Or a new idea, or an invention. You're creating a new way to do things, or you're again offering inspiration. You're seeing the world in a different way. So from there, right? So you have this highly creative internal world that you live in. So that internal world, right, is doing like processing all that you're taking in, and it's and then it's also if you're solving a problem or a challenge, then you're looking for the ways, you're inside and you're figuring things out. And then this allows you to have strong intuition. So to be able to use your intuition, to feel that connection that you have to everything. So a lot of intuitives, and highly sensitives, feel very connected to source, are very spiritual. They're connected to themselves, they're connected to source, they're connected to nature, they're connected to people, right? So if we're connected, then we can be asking questions. Show me the way. What about this? How could this work? So we're working with everything. We're in that flow where intuition, when we learn to listen to it, can come to us very easily, and we can feel our way and hear or see or know, right, how to move forward. So because we listen, we're good listeners. We're good at asking questions. We're good at observing. We're good at taking things in. So the other thing is that I spoke of briefly is that we have empathy. We can feel what other people are feeling, and we know how to take care of them probably better than we know what's missing for them in a lot of ways. Not always. But when we're really alert and we're listening and we're paying attention, we can know how to make that person feel more comfortable. We know what that person needs, and I'm talking about people who are not sensitive, right? That they don't even know, they're not even really conscious about what's going on, but we know how to make them feel better. But we can also empathize with them. We can have, yeah, God, I know what that feels like to feel alone. I know what that feels like to lose somebody. I know what that feels like to, you know, get recognized and have acknowledgement for something that you've created. You know, so it's I know, isn't that sunset incredible? I mean, aren't we just blessed? So it can be, we can recognize the lower energies, and we can recognize the higher energies and feel that. And so this brings me to another thing that that we feel the whole spectrum of feelings. So and to a heightened extent, right? So we can really feel sadness and anger and I would say we can feel it in other people, hatred and disgust and all of that of other people. It's not necessarily our feelings, but we also can feel love and happiness at very high levels. So, and I think because of that too, that we are, because we can feel love, and not everybody can feel love, really unconditional love that is connected through source, nature, that is everything, that loving energy that is everything. I think that is one of our extraordinary gifts, and that one that we're called to walk to. This is one of our main purposes, is to be that love, to be that. And so one of our greatest gifts to ourselves is to take really good care of ourselves and to really uncover that unconditional love that we are in ourselves if we have been wounded or have traumas that have made us feel less than brilliant and lovable. That's our work. And when we can walk that, and when we can represent that, and when we can hold the people around us and the world and humanity in that unconditional loving energy, that is one of our greatest gifts to this planet. And that's what all of us are connected to, Source or God or Buddha or whatever you call it, however, whatever label you put on it, the quantum field. And that when we understand how to work that, and I think the highly sensitives can feel all of that, then we're at our best selves. We can just really help in so many ways, and this is where I think this is our superpowers. These is our gifts to humanity and to the planet. And if we can start thinking this way, and believing this, and removing the obstacles that are in the way of that, then we really feel fulfilled, and we're walking our talk. And so the reason that highly sensitives, I think, got a bad rap before was, number one, what we were believing, what we were thinking, that our mindset about who we are and who we had to be, and that we had to be like everybody else. We don't want to be like everybody else, because we bring new things to the old thinking, the old way of thinking. We're much more innovative, creative, and inspiring, being ourselves. And I think we have to start owning that. And we're much more energetically and empowered to create change and make the world a better place when we're living our gifts. When we don't live our gifts is when we're not thinking positively about who we are. And what really gets us into that is when we don't take good care of ourselves. Self-care is essential for highly sensitives. And it's when, right, so we said, so that you are aware of all the subtleties going on around you. Well, you don't want to be taking in everything all the time. So learning how to set boundaries, learning how that you go out into the world for a certain amount of time that's healthy for you, what you can stand, and then you come back in and you let yourself, clear that energy, have some quiet time to reboot. Think about rebooting your energetic cycle because you've been out there. And so how to, understanding that when you go out and you're just letting yourself be bombarded and then you're trying to process, right? So we deeply process everything. So you're feeling all this stuff and you're feeling everybody else's energy and you're not creating healthy boundaries and you're not grounding yourself and you're just being a sponge taking it all in. You get overwhelmed. And you just want to, it freaks out. Your nervous system gets whacked out. You feel out of control. You can even feel sick. If you're sitting next to somebody that's depressed and is, or somebody who's angry and they're throwing all their stuff at you and you're taking it on versus having clear boundaries and not taking on that information. And then you're not going to be well. You get your tipping point of you being in your power is gone. So one of the things that, before I forget, and I did speak to this also, but the another one of your gifts, your superpowers, is your ability to be deeply moved by culture, by people, by your animals and stuff. Your spiritual connection to other things and seeing things as connected and seeing and tuning in, using your ability to tune into the subtleties of those things. You learn and gather information, and what you learn and gather is really so moving to you because you're processing that and experiencing that, and it's just it's awesome, right? But again, if there's too much going on or you don't get this is where highly sensitives need to be out in nature, need to have animals around them, or be around people who are moving, or artwork, or music. We need to have those things in our life to feed us. So we have to think about there's a certain amount of time that energy goes out and there's a certain amount of time that energy comes in, and we have to learn how to manage that energy flow and then also manage our very highly creative processing mind. And once we can take care of that, then we are then we will be superheroes with superpowers versus feeling weak and dispowered and I can't do anything as well as take care of ourselves. So I wanted to talk a little bit about shortly here just about what it means to what will disempower you. And so that I call that the kryptonite, right? So you remember kryptonite for Superman, took his powers away. He was really weak. So just think of the kryptonite of the highly sensitive, of you as a superhero with superpowers. What takes your power away? And so overstimulation, right? Having too much going on for too long and not managing that for yourself. You can build up so you're stronger and stronger because you know how to create healthy boundaries and not take on so much. So that overstimulation, you can really manage it so it doesn't come in a lot, and you know what to do with it if you do start to get overstimulated. Criticism. Highly sensitives do not like to make mistakes, do not like to be wrong, do not like to forget things. And we can tend to be highly sensitives because we grew up thinking we weren't enough. So we tried really hard to be enough in order to feel better. So if you're a perfectionist, know that criticism too, right, is like the negative towards us is again like the we said that we're affected by emotions. So then both the positive and the negative, right, to to high levels. So criticism to us is like, and it's just the same feeling as like love, woo, just feeling that love. Oh my gosh. So but we really benefit more from the loving. We can change and grow. We will thrive with positive energy. But criticism and being around people where you're never enough, and the narcissist, right? We're attracted to narcissists. So where we're never enough, that is disempowering to us. News, media, negative mindsets, like stop, get off of social media. If it's not, we're here to bring more love into the environment. So if you're participating in social media groups, watching the news, watching terrible movies that are blowing people up, doomsday stuff, and not creating out of the energy of unconditional love, and really being in that place of, I see a positive world coming. I think there's a lot of great stuff that's coming out of all these challenges we're having. I do, and I've got to play in that energy in order to really support and hopefully eventually with the others that are out there doing this work and holding the love, that we can push it to the tipping point that it goes over and more into that positive, enriching life form energy. And I think that the highly sensitives are here to help that the old energy shift to a new energy. And so you've got to watch what energy you're playing in and what the people around you are playing in, and really be picky about that, because that will take you down. Violent movies, I said, clutter. We have enough going on inside of ourselves, and bringing in all of the information and deeply processing it. But if you live in clutter and you have clutter around you, or your car's cluttered, your office is cluttered, where you go is cluttered, you're picking up on all of that, and that's just kind of like creating filters for you to see through your world. And it's kind of like, like this energy that's like this on you, that's irritating. You just always know it's there. So clean up your space so that you've got clear. No boundaries. What I talked about is like, so when you're around people, creating really healthy boundaries is really important, so that you're not taking on the energy. You can create a healthy boundary so that you're managing your energy, your space around you, and their energy kind of comes out here. You don't have to take it on, and you can just see and feel people out here without taking it on as if it's your own. And then also taking care of yourself first, putting on your oxygen, making sure you're full before you go out and help others. So it's like kind of shifting that you're always taking care of other people first, and shifting it to you're taking care of yourself first, and then from there you will see what you can do. But a lot of times when you're just being you and taking really good care of you, you've already are modeling and being and showing up energetically. You've changed the energy around you, that you're helping those around you without even having to have a conversation with them. So being around, I said also energy vampires and narcissists. So watch the people that you're around that want to suck your energy, that want you to just take care of them, and they don't care about you. Too much to do at once, doing too much. So it's like really manage your day, manage your time, managing your energy. It's like planning it out. So we can just go, and that's, too many, when you turn on your computer and there's emails, and then there's social media, and then there's blah, 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 that right there is like a whoosh, and we feel like, oh, we have to respond to that, and somehow, and then it's like, it puts us into freeze. And if we're perfectionists, then we procrastinate, right? And we do something that's just going to give us a adrenaline or a serotonin rush right now to make us feel better. Rather than being effective and achieving the things that we want to achieve in our life, we get distracted. So, people taking on too much. So again, learning to set limits and knowing what's really healthy and how you work best. Peer pressure, people, the non-sensitives that don't understand that when you let them win is kryptonite for you. When you have to really stand up for yourself, and that eventually they will understand what it is you bring to the table, or they're not the people to be around. They've got to appreciate you, and you need to stand up for yourself and be in your power and say, hey, I've got these great gifts and I offer them and I'm there for you when you really need me, and you need to stop this. You need to stop. I don't want to see shoot 'em up movies or watch the news or go to something that's really, I have no desire, that throws me out of whack. I expect respect. Okay, and if they can't do that, then they're not part of your tribe that will love you unconditionally. And then alcohol and drugs, depending, especially abuse, but watching, we are sensitive to chemicals. So, and some of us are more sensitive to, and it's not only drugs or alcohol, but environmental chemicals, perfumes, toxics, the sprays, cleaning agents, carpet, different things like that. So our systems, we are a highly tuned machine. Energies that is here, that has a purpose, that can work in the world in a different way than those who aren't. And the world is changing, and so are we. And you have so much more power and gifts to serve the world that they're waiting for. And some of them just don't know it yet. And some of you have no idea what you're here to do yet, because it hasn't even been developed. The idea hasn't even come to fruition. So your biggest thing that you can do is just start to really fall in love and get to know the gifts that are you, and honor that you are highly sensitive, highly needed at this time. You are here for a reason, and discover that reason and fall deeply in love with yourself, so you can start to really share that energy with others around you. Not you having to love them and sacrifice self. It's coming from you value and respect and honor who you are unconditionally. You were born into this world worthy. You were born into this world brilliant, and that's who you are. Anything less than that is something you've learned that is a lie. So I have a self-help book, self-care book on my website, MarilynO'Malley.com. If you want to learn how to take care of overstimulation, any of the things that I talked about, and that I talked about in the kryptonite, or just ways to take care of yourself as a highly sensitive. Some of these things are, if you want to go take a test to see if you're highly sensitive, if this didn't help you, it's on my website also. You can just go to MarilynO'Malley.com and click on Are You Highly Sensitive? And I can see that I've been turning red. It's super hot here in Santa Barbara today, and I had to turn off the fan so it wasn't making noise while I was talking to you, and it wouldn't be distracting. So it's just the heat is really turned up since then. But I really do hope that I got the point across that highly sensitives are a gift. You are a gift. And there's a reason. There's a reason for your sensitivities, but they don't have to overwhelm you. And you can learn to manage your life and manage that mind so that you can thrive as a highly sensitive in an insensitive world right now. And all together we can help create a tipping point so that we are living in a sensitive world where we all care about each other and are doing things to serve humanity and the planet. Until we meet again, loving you, Marilyn.